This is actually my first event, so I've learned a lot of acronyms this morning. I keep leaning over to Karen saying, what does that acronym mean? So I'm learning a lot. I'm going to talk about two topics. One is how we've grown our club, and also the benefits of the club to our company. So I'm going to separate those out. Solid is a 4,000 person company. We have about 650 people here in Seattle, and we're a consulting firm. So our people come to headquarters, but we also are out at our clients a lot. So one of the challenges we have as a club is we're located downtown Seattle. You live in Redmond. You are on Nordstrom in downtown Seattle. You join the club. You come at 7 a.m. every Wednesday morning. Your client changes. Now you're showing up at Microsoft. You don't come to the club anymore because you can't really drive to downtown Seattle if you're on an East Side client. So we do have churn of people who still love our club and love Toastmasters, but as their clients change, they don't show up for a little while. So we constantly have to keep that going. So we try to keep 40 to 45 people as members, and then 20 to 25 show up at each meeting. And we don't want to get bigger than that, because that 20 to 25 is a nice size for each of the meetings. It gives most people a chance to speak every time, and we've gotten a little bigger, and then it's not quite the same in terms of the closeness we feel as a club. So that's our little bit of background. Number one way that we grow is people hand tapping people and inviting them to come to meetings. We have a bunch of millennials, people as impressive as Tiffany just was, which we often, the older people, look at the millennials and go, man, they're amazing. We just had a sales kickoff at Slalom with 350 people in a room, and we had a competition to talk about our company's positioning with different tables, and then each table would have a winner. There were 6 people went up on stage, and a person 2 years out of college beat all our most senior salespeople because she just was confident and amazing speaker. So the millennials are a big part of how we grow, because a couple of them really enjoy it, and they recruit their friends, and then they all show up, and they've kept us a very youthful organization. So as much as you can tap people at the profile you're trying to have in your club and have them bring their friends, that's a huge boon to the club. Second thing I would say is our culture. We're pretty informal. You might notice I'm a little informal. And as president, I was a little informal. We don't have induction ceremonies. I've learned about those this morning. They sound kind of mean, but I wrote down that we should explore having those for new members. But we play music. We start at 7 a.m. on Wednesday. We usually play music through the speakers right up to 7 o'clock to keep the energy high. We've had it where we don't have music, and you walk in and it's very quiet and it seems sort of serious. So we try to keep that energy up at our meetings. So that's our second thing, is just an informal culture. And I don't know how you foster that. I don't think we know about some of the formalities because we don't come to these, although I'm going to encourage us to start coming to some of these to learn more. Third thing is lots of activities. You mentioned the variety of meetings. We have straight table topics for the hour where we don't do the formal agenda, and we'll just have a fun day. Sometimes for table topics we have people bring a bag of weird stuff, and your table topics is to pull something out of the bag and talk about it. I don't know how common these things are across Toastmaster clubs, because I've only been to ours and one other one time, which was very formal, like scary formal. We had a Toastmaster open house from 4:30 to 5:30 a couple weeks ago with wine, beer, food, and it was just straight table topics. We had 2 bowls. One was easy questions, one was hard questions. Made it a lot of fun. We cold called, we let people volunteer, and usually those will get 3 to 5 people then coming to our formal meetings, and then they'll become members. And then processes, we have a 5-week rolling calendar of all the roles, and the Toastmasters theme will be on that spreadsheet that gets mailed around. So we have sessions where our club's meetings have a theme. So we had love for Valentine's Day. So the table topics are around love, the 3 speeches are around love, but that 5-week rolling calendar allows us to know what's coming up. People don't bail because they're on the calendar, so they can well in advance not get a different name to replace them. So that's another process thing. We also have this little bookmark, which is cool. We have these for new members. There's a couple up here on the table if you want to see one. But we hand these out. It says, come prepared, explains for guests what's happening. It talks about the clapping, because people are like, whoa, you guys clap a lot? So we have that noted as, this is to encourage each person speaking as they walk up to speak and after, and encourage our guests who don't know what's happening to clap a lot. And it also tells them how to join. It also tells them as a guest, you're not going to get called on to speak. Because that's one of the things that we found scared people, like, I don't want to go the first time because you're going to call me and it's going to petrify me. We get rid of that concern, so we get a lot of guests that way. And then it has the mission. I did know the mission because it's on our little bookmark. And it talks about when we meet. And I could really use my glass of water, so I'll be right back. Oh, thank you so much. So that was how we've grown. I'm happy to answer questions before I move on to my second topic, which is the benefits to our company. Any questions just about our club? We've been around about 3 years, and like I said, we run 40 to 45 people all the time. And I'll drink water if you don't have questions. No question. All right. Benefits to our company. Number one is span of relationships. We have 650 people, but there are 3 different groups. We have a Seattle team, we have our corporate functions, HR, finance, IT, and then we have a team that supports across the country. We're in 7 different floors of a building in downtown Seattle. We don't interact with people that are on a lot of those teams, except for at Toastmasters, where it's pulling from all those 3 different teams. So the expansion of relationships that we have as a company is great. Number 2 is the deepening of relationships. So there's people you work with every day. You don't know anything about them really, except the function that they perform and the interaction you have. Where at Toastmasters, we learn about people's struggles with cancer and raising their kids and how they grew up. We laugh a lot. We've cried numerous times when people share. This one gentleman shared that he had a son a year before. The wife lived in Alaska. He wasn't allowed to see the son, and all of this was like news to us. So I think that deepening of relationships with people on a personal level is a great benefit to the company and how we show up at work. The third thing would be the inspiration. Every Wednesday we leave that meeting inspired by something that we learned about a topic, about leadership, about communication. I think we're a very tight-knit group, so those are interactions and inspirations that I wouldn't have if I just showed up, went to Starbucks, got my coffee, and showed up at my desk. Like, you're inspired on those Wednesday mornings. The fourth thing would be a deepening of our culture. We started 3 years ago. We had an event called Slalom Speaks. I spoke at the first one. It was at the IMAX Theater at Seattle Center. We had about 250 people from Slalom in the audience, and it was I go like this because it's a wall, because it was an IMAX theater. And we had 7 speakers. We had a whole process of applying to be a speaker, getting coached to be a speaker, and having that event. But that event really reinforced the culture of our company. We invited a few clients to it so they could see, like, these are real Slalom people. So it helped us from a client perspective as well. We had our second one last year, and we're just gearing up for our third one. So that was something that came out at Toastmasters, and I'd encourage other companies. It's a great annual event that we have now as a company that was from Toastmasters in the first place. And the last thing is, we are about communication. We're consultants. We are giving strategies. We're giving decks. We're communicating the future direction for companies. And we do have people who say kinda and sorta a lot. And when you're saying, we kinda looked at your processes and we sorta came up with this recommendation. So the filler word aspect of just being aware of those things as we're delivering recommendations to clients it ups our game in terms of who we are. And we've had numerous people now going through this, and we have that thing where you don't bring notes. Like, if you have notes, you're like, oh, it's really good, but you didn't need the notes. Almost nobody needs the notes when they come in, but it is that little crutch, and we've raised the bar pretty fast that people only have notes for their first time because they feel supported, and that if they mess up a little, we're still going to cheer them on, and we'd rather they try to do it without notes than that crutch. So I think we've raised our bar pretty fast, especially because of the organization that we are. Oh, a question.
Can you talk about your Slalom Speaks event? What are people speaking about to the company as well as your clients?
Yep. Repeat the question. Can I talk about the topics for Slalom Speaks? So the first year, I don't remember what our theme was, but we had 2 senior people be, what do you call that, the main speaker? Keynote. We had 2 keynotes and then 5 other ones. And one person talked about growing up in Iran and coming to California at a young age, one of our senior leaders. Another talked about being in the military and lessons from that. I spoke about just how you can strengthen relationships through informality and lunches and stopping to talk to people in the hall, because I never used to do that. I'm pretty action-oriented. And so it was random. Last year, I can't remember the theme, and this year it's about our core values. So we have 10 core values that we live as a company, including smile, do the right thing always, inspire a sense of passion and adventure. So within those 10 core values, there's a lot of flexibility in what people will talk about. So we don't know yet. But last year somebody talked about their last year and going through cancer with his wife, and then his wife was in the audience and he did this really good speech and we all cried. But it's a night where you're just really impressed. One of the most impressive was a millennial who got up there and you're like, dang, she's good. And so it's a really fun night. Any other questions? All right. I'll hang around if you have questions you want to ask offline. And these little bookmarks are super handy. I'd encourage you to check them out. They're nice for guests. Thank you.